Hello, everyone. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. This is the good, the mad, the unholy. I am Steven. I will be your balladeer tonight. And these lovely people are our soon-to-be pureed posse. Say hi, pureed posse.
Howdy.
Pureed
Posse.
Yeah, because you're going to get shredded tonight.
Gotcha.
That
Still maintain.
Really quick walk. That was
Yeah.
a really quick walk there.
I understand why the guy who
You see,
stayed
this
on
is
home
why
base is going to get pureed. I don't get it.
This is why I do the 5-minute lead up so you guys understand the punchline. If I just go straight to the punchline, then it just loses all its oomph.
We understood the punchline.
You know what? If you keep acting like this, I'm going to call you the Pouty Posse, all right?
I tell you what, though, all these like gun hands are gonna be in the punchline when John gets a hold of them.
Ah, there we go.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
All right, this is the Punchline Posse. Say hi, Punchline Posse.
Hi, punchline.
Hi,
posse.
punchline. Posse.
Howdy. So,
So much enthusiasm. I love it. I'm just an
Well,
energy
you know,
vampire
when you-
here.
when
Like
you
these
tell
people
us
were
how
so
often-
happy to get on, and then I show up, and it's just like, oh no.
It's more like the, discussion about like checking death and dying rules and all the things that we're like, okay, all right, we see.
I
we
just
see where
wanted
this is
everyone
going.
to
Don't,
understand how it
stay too
goes. That's
attached
all.
here.
yeah, you were doing psychological warfare with us, I think.
That's what a good GM does, though.
We have to-
Okay,
we
I
just
will not
understand.
apologize. All right, let's jump right into our summary.
Informed consent. I think
Uh,
that's what this is. Just
yeah.
know dying is coming.
Informed consent, yes. I had a contract, but I didn't get it sent out in time, so I just went for the verbal consent. Last week, after you met the Caldwells, you were given lodging in the bunkhouse nearby. You all spent a couple hours there formulating plans and resting before little Petey came to fetch you for dinner with Lazarus and Rosanna. Upon arriving in the dining room, Lazarus immediately demanded an apology on Rosanna's behalf. And dinner itself was rather short and somewhat tense. Lazarus was pretty combative. Rosanna seemed to be the peacemaker of sorts, but she didn't say too much. Purdy noticed quite a bit of Celtic imagery around the room, but speaking to Lazarus didn't really get you any more clues. In fact, the more questions you asked, the more irritated he became. There was something about headaches alluded to. You mentioned his age. He told you he was only 42, but he could almost be twice as old, look twice as old. Rosanna, however, did give you the clue that her family was of Irish descent. The meal ended almost as soon as it started. The food was served, and then each member of the posse was afflicted with a gruesome hallucination. Teeth were falling out of heads. There were vipers coming out of mouths. It made for unpleasant eating. Purdy just wanted to say grace, but he didn't even get that far. The resulting outbursts from the lot of you infuriated Lazarus even more, sending you back to your room with no food. Although John was careful enough to bring a nice big plate on the way. It wasn't long after reaching the bunkhouse again that members of the posse who had eaten dinner began to feel very sick. Vint and Sula took the worst of it. Sula ran to the outhouse, a guard awkwardly following her to escort her. And that's when John saw this as his big moment to act, and he began to pick a fight with the remaining guards. One of the guards managed to get off a shotgun blast, and that alerted almost the entire ranch to your escape attempt, which is where we will be picking up. It is late in the evening, around 8 o'clock-ish, but we're in the height of summer, so it's still light out. You probably have another half hour to an hour of natural light. It is chaos in this ranch. There are ranch hands that are running left and right. You see that they've all been grabbing guns, handing out rifles. Most of them already had pistols holstered in the first place. And out of the Caldwell house, At first, it looked to be a rather large man in a robe wearing one of those antler masks, but the skull was not of a deer, it was of a massive elk. The antlers on this elk were 3-4 feet long. The skull was huge, and he shrugs off this cloak, and you realize that the skull was his actual head, and he stood up even higher. With the antlers, he's pushing close to 11, 12 feet tall. Vint was in the cabin, and he got a shot off on this guy. Massive bullet hole to the shoulder, took out a big chunk, but the demon, the deer man, whatever this is, did not seem to really notice it. We will be picking up in initiative, the same as where we were last week. Sula, you're going to be at the start. But first, as this demon lets out a howl, it's a very strange noise, very supernatural noise, that there's a feeling that seems to shock you, and you feel the terror in your soul. I need all of you to make a terror check, which is going to be a straight D100, and this creature inflicts a minus 20% on here. So terror checks start at 50, I believe, to pass, which means you need a 30 to pass. Let me double check this. I'm sorry, I should have already checked. Yes, it's a base 50 call, so we're going to be shooting for a 30 because of the minus 20 here.
I'd argue that Vint shouldn't have to roll this because he has no soul.
Wait a second.
Are you an android, Vint? Did Mothership bleed over here?
Might have.
No, I don't think so.
You didn't drop
My
your
guts
souls
were
on your
hanging out
intestines.
earlier. Yeah.
Unless they were fake android guts. I got a 46. There we
Sula
go.
passed with a 27.
I got a 24.
I got
30?
17.
So, John, you are the only one who is inflicted with terror here. That is going to be a minus 3 to your lucidity track.
Ooh, fun.
And we will start with Sula. You are behind the cabin right now. Remember, it's a dog trot cabin, so it's 2 cabins connected by 1 roof. You're towards the middle. The bunk that you were staying in, the part of the cabin that you were bunking in, is the building that you are behind right now, which is a bit closer to the south side. If you follow along, you'll be able to get to the barn. If you just go towards the center, you'll be headed right towards this demon in the center of the cul-de-sac.
I believe what I would like to do is move, so like here are the buildings, I'm in the middle. I want to continue around to the other building that's not the one we were staying in, and see if I
Absolutely.
can kind of get like a flanked position. And I'm doing so with both pistols up.
So you'll be able to, with about half your movement, you'll be able to get to the other corner. Peering around, you're going to see a lot of ranch hands that were scurrying about. This demon and that howl seems to have afflicted them as well. Many of them look terrified. A couple of them have already begun running away. A few others have hunkered down and are just finding any sort of position of cover, whether near a crate of supplies or some barrels, or there's a couple of them back at the barn, which is what you're now looking at. You see at least 2 behind the barn, and from where you were before, you think there's at least 3 or 4 in front of the barn as well.
Okay. And the ones that are not cowering and hiding, do they seem to be moving towards my allies?
Right now, they seem to have been trying to gain a position to fire at the cabin that you're at. Most of them are looking towards the front where those windows are, which is where Vint is standing. The doors into the cabin are in the center, and that seems to be where most of their focus is. They would still see you in the peripheral, like you're not so far that they wouldn't see that movement.
Okay.
But most of them are aimed at the front.
Okay. Would I be able to fire as well this turn at one of them?
Absolutely.
I would like to do that. So this is a short arms, which is a 64. And I rolled an 83. So that's fail.
All right. Your shot goes wide. Give me high or low.
Low.
Shot goes wide and it actually hits the barn. There are splinters that come flying off the barn, and they do seem to attract the attention of the two behind the barn. They see the splinters, they start looking around. I'm going to require a stealth check from you again.
Yes, I would definitely like to pull back behind the corner if I can. Sorry, I just gotta find stealth again. All right, stealth is 66, and then I have a little +1 in front of it, and I don't remember what that means.
That means if you succeed, you get an extra jack.
Oh, right. All right.
Before you tell me what you, before you say whether you pass or fail, you feel a tickle in the back of your neck, some sort of energy, almost as if there was a cold breeze that blew in and it just targeted you specifically. And that breeze gets a little more forceful, and then it becomes icy cold, and it feels as if there's a hand grabbing your neck, the thumb on one side, 4 fingers on the other. Do you remember a few sessions ago where you made a deal with the devil? This was in Arc 1.
I do not recall a deal with the devil, so please remind me of this deal.
You were
that I
fighting the
made with devil.
consumptive, and you made a deal with the devil so that your check would be a success after you had failed. And the deal was that I could choose one check in the future for you to fail at.
Well, I suppose here we are.
So tell me, did you pass or fail?
I passed.
You failed.
Or I don't. Okie doke.
These 2 men that are behind the barn, they start scanning, and you try to immediately spin back around, but whatever that was, that energy, it just kind of held you there for a moment before it finally let go, and they will be firing on you the next turn.
Okie doke. Great.
Sorry, Melissa, but you did agree to it back then.
Glad you had a note of that. I don't recall that at all, but this is perfect timing for it.
All right. Anything else quick you can do on your turn? You moved for your partial. You attacked for your primary, so it would be a prompt action like yelling or something like that, holstering a weapon.
No, I don't want to do either of those things. Thank you, though.
Okay. That brings us to Purdy. Purdy, what are you doing? Where are you even?
I'm on home base. They said not to leave. I haven't. My foot is still on the 2nd floor. I'm straddling several steps. And yep. You don't got me. Okay. Where's Vint and John at this point?
I'm outside
Vint-
our cabin right now.
Vint, you're in the cabin. You shot out a window.
Oh, I shot out a window. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you've got a bit more cover than that. John has just left the door to the cabin. So he's in the middle of that dog trot area.
Okay.
Vint is towards the front of the cabin. You are towards the back, like the same wall that Sula was behind.
Okay. Is John within, can he hear me? Like he's close enough where if I speak at a comfortable volume, he can hear me?
There's definitely gunfire happening here because it's shared ground, and then with the howling. So why don't we go high-low again?
Hi.
I do have keen senses, just saying.
Ooh, okay, I'll give you a +1.
Wait.
Yes,
I'm about
he hears you.
exceptional sense, not keen.
Okay.
That's a propensity that I have.
Okay, so that's the case then. I will gravely express I have heard the sound of hell course through this eve. We are in it now, my friends. We cannot turn back, for if we do, evil will follow us, and will bury its fiery blade into our backs. Fight hard, fight long, and do not relent. So I'm going to attempt a inspiring sermon test.
Jeff,
Yeah.
before you roll,
I did not take a deal with the devil, sir. Son of a
no, you
bitch.
did not. However,
Mm.
you begin summoning that energy, that divine righteousness that you then channel and pass on. This place is cursed.
Mm.
This is not neutral territory. How about that? It's desecrated ground. And this is, you've already done this once. The more you do this, the harder it's going to get. So you're going to take a minus 10% penalty here.
Am I now?
Yes, you are.
This is Jeff's. I can't believe you're pulling this bullshit face.
I know I'm an asshole.
Wow, man. It's like the one thing I'm good at. Okay. Minus 10%, you said?
Yes, sir.
And did we get jacks from our fear test if we beat it?
You do not get jacks from a fear test.
Okay.
I do have a audience jack left over from last session.
And you can spend some grit.
I'm not going to do that. I will take that die, though. Audience jack.
Okay.
Counterbalance it. Okay. Expression test. That's a 15. Under 64. Because it would, you said minus 10, and then plus 10
Minus
for the jack. So it's still 64. So 15 under 64, which is four jacks, plus I get a bonus fifth jack. So it is still
There
60.
you go. What's the problem? You're doing fine, buddy.
You're nerfing the one thing I do. Okay, so I'll say because Vint is closer to me, he probably can hear me a little clearer. So you can get 15% on your next attempt. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go 2 and 2, and I'm gonna keep one of the jacks for myself. So 10% to each John and Vint for their next actions.
And that is a full round action, correct?
That's a full round action that you nerfed. You will never hear the end of this, by the way, for as long as we know each other.
Which, if this goes poorly, it might be the last night we talk. You never know. This is now the demon's turn. This thing is in the center of this cul-de-sac, like open area between all the houses. And now that it's shrugged off the cloak, it kind of has this unnatural grace to it. Instead of just walking forward, it doesn't lumber. It kind of just jumps from side to side. Like it just jumps from one leg to the other. Every step it covers like 15 feet. So it is easily covering this area. And it is headed straight to John. And again, you hear that monstrous howl coming from it. But this time, after a couple seconds, you hear a response coming from the barn. As this thing's jumping forward, it is going to take its full turn to try and reach you, John, because you're far enough away. It's not going to get an attack yet. But the sun that should be going down, it should be dampening, it should be getting darker here. Steven cheats at GMing. I really do.
I didn't know you were. I thought you did at the shadow.
I finally got a Nightbot command. This is a win. All right. The sun that should be getting darker as it progresses into the evening. There's something that almost like a song being sung in the background. All of you can just barely hear it, almost from the base of your skull. And that sun begins to get brighter and brighter until it's almost as bright as midday, just scorching down. You can see that the earth itself has a bit of a haze to it as it's starting to to burn, and it kind of causes the dirt to dry up even more, and you see little fractures and cracks spidering out. That takes us to Vint. What are you doing?
After hearing Purdy's words, I take my rifle and aim at it, line up my sights through the window, on the windowsill. I'm gonna put a couple of rounds into it.
There's no glass in this window either, so you're able to fire clean through it.
I think I get a 10% from Purdy as well, so I'll be at an 84 on my long arms. Got a 5.
A 5. There we go. How many jacks is
Wow.
that?
7.
Yeah, so you're at a max of 6. You can't go over 6.
It would be
Okay.
6, right? Because you said 7.
I think
or
it would be 6.
84, I think, so it would be 6. Yeah.
A max of 6. I think I'll just do it all in damage, extra damage. So let me roll
That is a
guns
ton
damage.
of damage.
My Spencer carbine is 3d8.
Man. Oh, man. Good thing I can just erase these stats and write new ones here, because I do cheat at GMing.
So 14 on the gun, and the damage bonus would be 6. So another 20.
That's what you did last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. That is a massive hit. What were you aiming for?
So as it's like jumping and leaping, I was timing the arc on its land, and I was aiming for its other shoulder.
You did not hit its shoulder. With the arc, it was moving much faster than you anticipated. And you actually, it just went a little high, and you blasted off the entire right antler. It just bursts and shatters and flies back. Pieces of it stick into the ground because the points were so sharp. But it does keep running. It is very injured here. That was your primary action. Is there anything else you'd like to be doing?
Let's see. No, I don't think so. I'll stay here.
Okay.
Nice spot.
That brings us to John. You will be able to move up to this thing. It's gotten close enough to you that you could use your turn to move up to it. You're a little scared of it now. You failed that terror test. That doesn't mean you're like running. There's no fear condition inflicted, but it's definitely messing with your head. That's why you took the lucidity damage.
Got it. John's just gonna go, oh, that's frightening. Anyway, and he runs up and he
Anyway,
arm reload. And
John didn't have any lucidity to lose.
pulls back. Yeah, he's already pretty crazy. And he punches it. Now tell me, I get a -5 for being whooped, right?
Yes.
And then a
You are not
+2.
into unnerved yet.
Got it.
So it's just the -5.
And we've also received 4 extra audience jacks for anyone that wants them.
Oh, nice. And just to be, Purdy gave me a +10%.
That's correct.
All right, cool. I got a math. Okay, no, I got it. That's a pass. It's a 69, and I needed an 84.
All right, so you grab a jack, and then you get to do your damage too, which I believe for a punch is just your damage bonus. Does it
Yes,
have a number
indeed.
written down there to roll?
Yeah, it's just the damage bonus. So 3. And I'm going to use that jack for another point. Right there.
All right, so 4 damage.
Oh, the healed fisticuffs. Does that add an extra jack for my?
Yes, so
Or
you
is
get
it-
2 jacks there. Yeah.
I'll use both of them. For
All right, so that puts you up to
damage.
5.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this thing has a toughness higher than 5. It's honestly the only reason it's still standing after Vince been hitting it.
It's totally fine.
You punch it just square in the torso. You hit as hard as you've ever hit anything. It doesn't go down. It doesn't even budge at this point. That's your movement. That's your primary. You can do a quick action here, a prompt action.
John, he stands there and he goes, "Oh, it's a tough son of a bitch, ain't it?" And he just keeps going, ready to fight.
All right. That brings us to the top of the round here. Oh, I'm sorry. No, we still have all of the outlaws, the bandits. So we're gonna have a couple shots on Sula. I'm just gonna roll one attack on you and give him a bonus because there's 2 people shooting. Thanks to my Norse Foundry dice, that is an 18 to hit. Let me pull up the sheet here. That means I am getting 2 jacks here on top of my d6. We'll go ahead and put them to damage. I love Norse Foundry. That is 7 damage to you, Sula, which you get to lower by your gumption.
Okay, so gumption is 3.
So that would be 4 more damage to vitality.
So that means I fill in 4 slots.
Correct.
Oh.
And that should bring you into whooped as well.
Uh-huh.
All right, and we're going to get a couple shots on... they're not going to shoot at John because he's just hand-to-hand with this creature. They are going to be shooting at the barn, which will mean Vint. I'm going to give them... There's a lot of guys shooting, so I would give them a plus 20. I'm also going to give them a minus 20 because you have cover, so we'll just call it an even shot here. That is a miss. So this cabin, the front of this cabin, there's just a cloud of splinters bursting off as gunfire is erupting. A lot of the bullets are going through the window. There's the table behind you that's just getting battered and just completely thrown backwards by all this gunfire. Even Purdy has to pull up his feet a couple stairs so that he is out of the way, but you do not get hit. And that brings us to the top of the round. The sun continues to get hotter and hotter as that song in the back of your head. It's a strange language, a very melodic language, something you've never heard. You feel the intensity of that song rising as the heat comes down on you. And this ground that was already cracking and fracturing is beginning to tremor now. I want all of you to give me a physique test to stay standing, as there is an earthquake happening here. Chef is just saying, this is bullshit. I can't stand
Physique, I'm not allowed to talk. I'm not allowed. Okay. I feel like I'm being targeted. It's okay. I got my Norse Foundry dice. They will take care of it.
They won't let you down.
They won't.
Sorry, I keep forgetting this. So are these 20s?
All right, so physique test is the D20, yes.
Okay.
And that number in the top right of the physique skill box is what you need to hit.
Thank you, Eric, for my 5 under 9.
Oh, look at
well,
that.
because of my 6s and 7s, and because I'm at a -2, that means the 13 that I rolled under 14 is actually a fail.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
The same thing happened, so I failed as well.
That could be 9. That shaking happens, and Vint, you fall to the ground. You're just prone. You're not taking any damage here, and the gunfire is still coming through the window, but it begins to lessen a bit. Sula, that hand that was pulling you back, and it held you out for a moment, and that's why you got shot in the arm as you were pulling away, and it just kind of like threw you to the ground as well. This cabin is beginning to pull itself apart. The roof that was connected because of that earthquake, it's beginning to twist and contort. Purdy and Vint, you look up, you see the floor above you is just cracking and breaking. This thing's going to go down pretty quick. Sula, you were looking towards the barn, but you're near the cabin as well. If you stay near this cabin, you might be in trouble. Looking towards the barn, you see little Petey running out with Bandit, running out the front towards the conflict. And he hears the gunfire and he stops, he covers his ears. Bandit keeps running. Petey calls out, Bandit, come back, come back. Bandit, come. But he doesn't go out. He runs back towards the barn. As he runs into the barn, he brushes against a lantern on a post, and it falls down. This barn is beginning to go up in flames here. John, you are at where these cracks are deepening the most. There is a fissure in the earth directly under you. You manage to keep your footing, but there's a crack going directly beneath you, pulling apart. You look down. There's a nest of vipers directly underneath you. There are snakes that are literally burrowing out of these cracks, trying to rush up to the top. That brings us to the top of the round with Sula. What are you doing?
So Sula is going to drop one of her. So she had both of her pistols up. Her left arm she's going to drop, and she's going to yell, "Petey, get on over here! Get out of that barn!" And then she is going to move herself kind of out of the kind of overhang of this building.
All right. Let's start with the yelling. We're going to call this your prompt action. And I want a personality test from you, a personality call. You go ahead and pick what you're trying to do, whether you're trying to convince, express. If you're trying to intimidate, you could do physique there. However you're trying to command PD to go, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of gunfire here. Whatever you're trying to do to get him to listen to you.
I have none of those skills.
You don't have intimidate or anything like that in physique?
Oh yeah, I do. Yes. That's my best stat. I would like to intimidate this child.
That makes sense. Like it doesn't mean he has to be scared of. Yeah.
Like it's probably like fear of the fire. Like,
yeah,
that's kind of the angle that I would be going with that.
It's like when a parent's concerned for you and they sound a little harsher than they mean to.
Or a whole hell of a lot harsher. Wow. I needed a 7 and I rolled a 71.
Oh, there we go. All right. You're going to see PD go in. Let's go ahead and finish your turn before I narrate it. That's your prompt action. What would your primary and partial be? Partial tends to be movement, but it can be something else. You said you want to get away from the overhang of the building?
Yeah, so I want to get away from the overhang, and then I want to...
And you want to what?
Shoot the person that shot me.
Okay. When you're moving away from the building, do you want to move towards the barn or do you want to move towards the mountains further away? Moving towards the barn would be where you're shooting, but it's going to mean you have a little less cover.
Towards the barn, in case the little red rat doesn't listen to me.
Okay. So you start running towards the barn. You got pistols blazing. Let's go ahead and roll the attack.
That's a fail. That is a 79 over 64.
Shooting guns, it's hard to be accurate, especially as you're running. You got both pistols going. Unfortunately, none of them actually connect with their target. Moving on to Purdy. Actually, talking about Petey before Purdy. You yell at him to get out of the barn. And you see him bolt out the backside of the barn. He went in the front. That's where he brushed. You see him coming out of the backside of the barn, and he looks at you and says, "Well, what about the mules?" And we will move on to Purdy.
Okay, so the dog truck cabin that we're in is coming apart, right?
Yes, it is being pulled apart by these vibrations in the earth.
Okay. So, can I do any sort of test to assess whether we are hallucinating again, or if this is really happening? We've been assaulted.
You
with
want to
sex.
disbelieve.
Yes, I am suspicious that this might be a ruse to get us
very
out of
old
here.
school. I love it.
What
That would be theology for you.
Okay. I would be more than happy to roll theology. Okay.
Don't say that I'm not a benevolent GM here. I'm just taking away, your
Okay. Just so
oratory
everyone,
skills.
take it away.
Rely on your physical skills.
my main, you try to knock me over when you know physique is bad. Now you're burning my mule to death. Okay. I need a 79, and I rolled a 35. So that is a success.
There is an illusion
Mm-hmm.
somewhere here. It is not the cabin falling apart.
Okay.
There is definitely some sort of spell being woven that's affecting your senses.
Okay. All right. So is there any... Okay, so other than the sight, and I would presume the sounds of like the cabin coming apart, right? Is there anything else that's assaulting me that I might like the smell of brimstone or something like that? Is there anything that I might be able to pin together what it might be, or is it just not yet in my understanding?
It's not yet.
Okay.
Whatever the illusion is not apparent to you yet.
Okay.
But you do feel that it's that song being woven in the just back behind your ear, just the base of your skull, whatever that song is, that's the spell being cast.
Okay. So I will not do a cool RP'd sermon since Steven doesn't like it when I do that. So I'm going to...
You can do it at a minus
run
20.
downstairs.
I don't have a problem with that.
I'm going to run downstairs, and I'm going to call out to Vint because I'm running for the door. And I'm going to call out to Vint, not as a sermon, just as normal, free action talk stuff. Like, get the hell out of this. Get the hell out of this building. It's coming apart. It's real. I'm telling you, man, it's real. But there's something. Ignore the song. Don't listen to the song. And I'm going to immediately, as I come to the door, look for cover.
So the majority of the cover here is this building. There's a big open area in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's mountains and brush behind it, but it would be a run to that.
Okay.
However,
There's
most of the gun hands aren't behind the building.
Outhouse.
And there's also an outhouse back there. A couple outhouses.
So most of the gun hands aren't behind the what I'm in.
Most of the gun hands are by the ranch house and by the barn.
All right, so I can just run behind our building then, basically, and towards the outhouse. And
you would be basically where Sula just left.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get the hell out of here and as best I can.
I'm gonna say actually, you started on the stairway. You're gonna be able to get just out of the cabin. You'll be able to be in the center of this dog trot. You're not gonna be able to get fully behind it yet. That would be a little too far.
Okay, man.
You can use the door for cover though.
Okay.
I know, I'm a jerk.
Being ridiculous.
All right. That brings us to the demons. Oh, I'm sorry. Demon, not demons. John, this thing is coming at you.
Oh, yeah.
And it only has one antler right now. So I'm going to give it a penalty here. But it is attempting to gore you with its antlers. It just lowers its head. The spine of its back perfectly lines up. Its cloven feet dig into the earth, and it just goes right towards you. That is just barely a pass. All right.
This is fun.
That is, I'm going to do less damage as well because it's missing an antler. So you are taking 6 damage right now as it gores you, and you are inflicted with the impaled condition.
Ooh, fun. It's minus my gumption, right? It's
Still minus your gumption,
okay,
yes.
So cool. So 2, yay. 2 damage.
And the impaled condition means you're not necessarily stuck here, but you have to decide whether you want to deal with this antler being stuck inside you, or if you want to rip it out quickly and continue to move on. You can check the conditions there. That brings us to Vint. What are you doing, Vint? As this cabin's fallen apart around you, you're on the ground here. Purdy
Yeah,
just bailed.
I'm gonna pick myself up. I'll be right behind you, Purdy. And then I'm gonna try and roll this acrobatics to make it a prompt action instead of partial for standing up.
All right.
So my reflex acrobatics is 35, but I have 6s and 7s. We'll make it down to 15. Got a 67 fail. So I believe it's just a partial action. Or
Yeah,
makes
it's
it a
gonna take
primary action.
your movement. It's going to be a primary?
Yeah, if
You
I fail
said
the acrobatics.
partial to prompt. Oh, because you failed.
That,
because
yeah,
you
that's
missed it.
the risking of making the roll.
All right, so you won't be able to shoot then, but you'll be able to stand up. You do still have your partial then, which is your movement.
Then I'll run behind this falling apart cabin, chasing after Purdy.
All right. You were a bit closer to the door, not much, so you're going to be able to get like 2 steps past Purdy, but you're both still there in the center of the dog truck cabin.
All right.
So wait, he was prone. He has to get up
You-
from prone, and he still gets past me.
He used a primary to get up. It was the same amount of partial, and he didn't have to go down the stairs.
I think everyone sees what you're doing here. That's fine. That's fine.
I have a question.
Yes, I have an answer.
So, and I just want to double check. So for 6s and 7s, some of the other effects have like a minus 40%, minus 20%. 6s and 7s just says -2 for physique, reflex, and resolve tests. So is it a -2 for those tests and a -20 for everything, or is it just the -2? Because the other descriptions have like 10%,
Okay, so I think-
40%.
I think there was a typo in this. Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay. Just wanted
Uh,
to make sure.
6s and 7s. All tests are at -2. All tests are at grueling difficulty, -2. I think it's supposed to be -20 for those. And the actual, maybe I'm reading this wrong. I don't know.
If it says grueling is minus 20%.
-20. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's just meant to be -20.
Okay.
But there's a difference between tests and calls.
There is a difference between test and call, because calls are percents and test is just a number because it's a d20.
We've been playing with the skills get -20, so I don't really want to take that back now. But I'm
Understood.
starting to wonder.
I don't
if
know
was
that I
supposed
did
to
in my
happen.
last roll because I noticed that Long did it. So I don't know that I did, but I will start playing it as a -20%.
Yeah, let's start playing it as a -20%.
Understood.
All right. Let us know in the comments if I'm doing this wrong. Because the comments go to Jeff, so he has to deal with it.
Yep.
All right. Vint, that was your action. John, you have snakes coming at you right now out of the cracks in the earth. You are impaled by an elk antler. What are you doing?
All right, I got a bad idea. I got a bad
Wait,
idea.
This session or last session? Which one was the bad idea?
Every session is what I do. It's what I do.
I'm sorry. I love you, man.
Make bad ideas.
It's a fun idea.
This is lasso, right?
Yes. Melee to use it because you're in such close quarters.
Yeah. Melee, you say?
Yes. If you were gonna like go a bit further, I would allow like maybe animal handling or throw. But since it's right next to you, I'm gonna say melee.
We'll save the bad idea for later.
Okay.
I'm
I like
still
it
gonna
though.
do it at some point, but right now I think I'm just gonna rip the horn out of me, and I'll take that damage that I get from that, I believe.
Yes. So Full round action would be safely removing the object. Simply yanking it out inflicts 1d4, which will be. Thank you, Norse Foundry Dice. That is 3 vitality and lucidity damage.
Nice. Is the vitality still soaked with my gumption or no?
It would be, yes.
All right, cool. So I have 4, so that reduces to 0, correct? And I take still lucidity though, correct?
Yes, so 3 lucidity. Basically, this blood loss is just starting to make you feel a little blurry inside.
All right, cool. So that's the tits. And then I'm gonna run away as far as I can.
You're running away from the demon.
Yeah, for the first time in forever. John is
Okay,
going to run
okay.
from a fight. It literally pains him emotionally and physically.
So disappointed in you.
So you are in very difficult terrain right now with the cracks underneath you and the snakes that at this point are trying to bite at you, actively trying to bite at you. I need an athletics or an acrobatics just to get a solid footing, and then we'll deal with the movement after that.
All right, and let me make sure I'm doing this right. I'm battered now. I believe I'm battered now. So at -10, and I'm also unnerved, so -15%. It's gonna be fun.
Which one are you doing? Athletics?
Yeah, athletics.
We have audience dice too, and you can burn a grit.
I'm gonna take 2 of those audience.
All right, got 2 left.
All right, so that's gonna increase it. Let me do the math here because I'm terrible at doing math. 15.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah, and then that goes. Okay, cool. Yeah, that is a 20. I passed with.
What did you need?
I needed a 75 because
Oh,
the +20 just raised it up by
Nice.
5.
you got
Nice.
your own jacks.
So yeah,
Turning the audience jacks into personal jacks. I love it.
that's the way I do it. So it's 5, right?
All right. So we're gonna say you're able to. You were kind of straddling this fissure with the snakes here. You just push off with one leg, and the snakes lash out at you, but their teeth find nothing but air. You get on one side of this crack, and you're able to just bolt away from this demon, and you hear it, this sort of the snorting happening as it enrages it that its prey is getting away. You're still bleeding from a couple points where you were impaled. Which way are you running? Towards the cabin, towards Purdy and Vint?
I'm headed towards Purdy and Vint. Yeah.
All right. So you're going to be able to get under the roof again. You're going to be just about 5 to 10 steps behind Purdy. So the 3 of you are clumped up pretty close together. Anything else for your turn? You still have a prompt action.
I'm just gonna say to Purdy, like, oh crap, that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, why are you here? Go back. No, they can see us. Get the hell out of here.
All right, so we're gonna have some gunshots coming at y'all. Sula, there's a couple coming at you, which is just barely a hit here. That is going to be 5 damage on you, Sula, which you get to lower by your gumption.
All right, so that's 2. So my whoop is
I'm sorry.
full.
Yeah, by your gumption. All right, so you are whooped.
I'm solidly whooped.
All right, we're gonna take a couple attacks. It's gonna be random here. Purdy.
You gave me cover.
Purdy, you're getting shot at.
Yeah.
Do you want to dodge or react?
No, man.
You're gonna get
just kill me. Like, you clearly want to kill me, so just go ahead. Go ahead.
I swear, I said 1 to 2 for John.
You said I
3 to
was.
4
You
for
said I
Purdy,
had
5 to
cover
6 for
behind the
Vint.
door. You said I had.
You
cover
do. You're
behind
gonna get +20. Would you like to dodge?
No, dude. Like, I'm not gonna dodge.
Okay.
I'm gonna fail it. I have no physique.
It was an 81 anyways. So they miss you. That door erupts into splinters. You still have cover behind it, but there are some bullet holes in there now. And that brings us to the top of the round. The sun is scorching more and more, and these cracks are growing and dividing. They're crisscrossing, especially through this open area. And the cabin above the three of you is really starting to break and rupture. You can hear inside the cabin, that second floor collapses. Looking in through the door or the window, you see the chaos as the timbers are collapsing. So far, the roof above you is holding. For how long, we don't know. You hear another of these inhuman roars. Looking back at the front of the barn, Sula, you would not be able to see this anymore from your vantage point, but you would be the closest. You would hear it the best. Out of the fire that's been growing at the front of this door, another one of these demons walks out. Its fur is ablaze and smoldering. Sula, what are you doing?
So to clarify from last time, Petey did run out of the barn as a
Petey
result
is
of
back
my...
behind the barn and safe. He did say, what about the mules? But he's back. He's not in cover or anything like that, but he's going closer to the mountains and the hills. He is away from the barn and the gunfire.
Okay. Sula... I think this is probably...
Actually, sorry. Sula, give me, from where you are, you would be able to see this best. Give me an observation here, and it's going to be a narrative success.
All right. Let's see. That is a 58, and I rolled a 52.
All right, just barely a success then. Your attention is drawn towards the front of the barn. You're at the side of it here, so you can't see the actual front door, but you see the house, the Caldwell house, and you see a silhouette in the window, and you realize that it's Rosanna, and she appears to be in a trance, in a haze. You see her mouth muttering something, maybe even singing. What are you doing?
And if I'm recalling from last week, Purdy, when we had gotten back after dinner, we had discussed like the painting.
Yeah.
And the Celtic imagery and the fact that it looked like her in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that I'm not metagaming this when Sula will move in the direction of the house.
That will also take you closer to the noise of the howl, because you'd have to move you'd have to pass the front of the barn to get to the house.
Okay. Yeah, whichever direction I need to go to get to the house, then that is
Okay.
what I will do. I will.
You'll also notice as you start moving that direction, after that second howling, the gunfire seems to have died down a bit, and you see a lot more hands are running away than even before. Some of the ones that were perched behind positions are beginning to lose faith. They're thinning out rapidly.
Yeah, Sula does not like getting shot at and not returning fire, but that seems like the irritation, not the primary objective at this point. So she will, whatever I can do to move swiftly in the direction of the house.
Okay. There are still people out there you can shoot at. Moving towards there, you'll come forward, you'll see the burning demon to your right, and you'll see the demon that's been injured to your left. So you can try to find another hand to shoot at, which would probably be difficult at this range, or the two demons, you could shoot at either one and be perfectly fine.
What the hell? I'll shoot a demon.
Do you want to shoot the injured one or the burning one?
The injured one.
Okay.
I will take one of the audience jacks, leaving one more, which will put this at a Hold on.
If
Starting
you
at
do
a
a
64.
good amount of damage here, you could kill it.
Starting at a 64, added one of those, which makes it a 74, but 6s and 7 puts it at a 54. 18. So that will be 3.
4 jacks.
Okay, I will put all of them to damage.
All right, go ahead and roll.
Okay. So I knew the words to say. I'm putting them to damage. What does that actually mean? I'm rolling a d6 and then what?
You're rolling a d6. You get to add your damage bonus, and then you get to add 4 damage for the jacks.
Okay, so I rolled the d6, which is a 4.
And Purdy, you're on deck.
And my damage bonus is a 1, so that makes it a 5. And then I added the other 4 jacks, which makes it a 9.
You needed an 8. Describe how you want to destroy this thing. Can you destroy a demon? How you're putting this thing down?
So she is moving swiftly. So this is more of a kind of a center mass kind of a thing. There's no aiming. There's no whatever. This is, I'm moving. You look like maybe I can take you out. So this is just center mass.
Yeah, you got both pistols going. And again, the 3 of you probably can see this at this point. You see her shooting. There's no noise coming from it. Is there noise coming from it? It's hard to tell with all the other gunfire. Does it seem to line up with her guns? And this creature just lunges forward towards the 3 of you, but then collapses on the ground. You see its chest rising and falling, but each time it rises, it gets a little bit lower and lower before there's just one last gasp, and you hear the death knell coming from this creature. Sula, when you hit this creature and it went forward, out of the corner of the eye, you saw the window that Rosanna was standing in front of, and you saw her get pushed forward towards that window as well. For a moment, the 4 of you, for the rest of the round, you do not hear that singing in the back of your heads. That was your movement, Sula. That's your action. You have a prompt now, so you could like holster or do something fast.
Do I see any of my companions within the shouting distance?
Now that I've moved? Say you can see them. They would have quite a bit of cover from you, but you'd be able to know where they are.
Good night. I cannot remember her name.
Rosanna.
Yes. So Sula will lower one of her pistols, and just say, "Heading for Rosanna," and then put her pistol back up.
You put your pistol back up. You are looking towards Rosanna. There's also a demon very close to you and smoldering right now. That brings us to Purdy.
Okay, Purdy's going to try to run behind the building at this point, probably sort of in the direction of Sula, but trying to maintain some semblance of cover between him and the stuff that's firing at him. Is that possible?
Absolutely. You're going to be able to go over this scorched earth as well. You see the cracks are, they've covered almost the entire ranch at this point. However, you do not see any snakes in those cracks. You have no worry about those.
Okay. I do want to stay, I don't want to move so far as to remove myself from cover. So however far that is how far I would move.
The one concern you have is if you stay in cover, you'll have to be somewhat close to this building that's coming down. Otherwise, you have to kind of get out of cover.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna find a lava pit and hurl myself in it. Would that make
is an
you
option,
happy?
yes. Just throw yourself down the well.
Well, the barn is burning. You can just run in it.
I couldn't see Sula pointing at Rosanna, could I?
If she was able to figure out where you are, we'll say you could figure out where she was.
Okay. Can I see Rosanna for where I've moved to?
We'll say with her pointing it out, you would be able to see that she's like struggling to stand up in front of the window. If you want to get to Rosanna as quickly as possible, it would require going out of cover straight through the center. If you want to go the long way around, you could go back behind this cabin. You don't have to be close to the cabin to use the majority of it. Even if it collapses, you could still be behind it where most people won't see you, like skirting between it and the mountains.
I want to just keep in cover, and I want to shout for Vent, and I want to try to use one posse and try to like lend aid to try to get him to fire up at Rosanna. Now,
okay,
Purdy is a very observant man. He's got very high observation. So basically, I want a spot for him, and like so that he follows. So.
Yeah. We'll just say that he gets a. How about we do an observation?
That is a 17 under 60 something or 50 something. Hang on.
All right, so we'll give him a plus
67.
20 then. How's that sound? And you can keep those checks.
Works for me. So I'll be calling like, up here, fire at her, take her down.
All right, so that'll be your primary action. Your prompt was to, are you going to move?
Yeah, I'm going to move. I got to keep cover, man. Like, I'm going to die if I get shot.
Yeah. So go ahead and you could move back behind the cabin away from the gunfire, and you'll still be able to be closer to the outhouses where you can kind of see what's going on. But the majority of these gun hands aren't going to be able to see you, especially because most of them are running the opposite direction of you.
That works. Okay.
Vint, you're going to be up after the demon here. It's not plural anymore. You're going to get plus 20 if you shoot at Rosanna, but that 20 is only going to be for her because that's who he was spotting for. The demon is going first, and it's going to run at you, Sula. And it's going to put its head down and try to gore you as well. That is a 63 to hit. It needed a 60 to gore, so it just barely missed. So it puts its head down, and its elk antlers are coming at you, and you're able to you really just halt your momentum because you were running forward. So you just kind of skip a step, and the antlers come just a little bit in front of you. This creature's still right next to you, but it does not get you. Vint, you are up, and John, you are on deck.
Yeah, listening to Purdy's instruction here, I'll find the Caldwell house in the window.
His instruction to go jump in a lava pit?
Exactly. Wherever I could find Rosanna in the windowsill.
So you're going to see her. She's in the first floor. It was like a drawing room where when you passed it the first time going in the house. And you're going to see she's kind of staggering up, but you'll be able to get a good shot on her.
Let's see, plus 20 will make it 94. What a 49.
49.
So it'll be 4 jacks.
4 jacks, yeah.
Are
you putting those towards damage?
Oh, yeah. So 4 damage on top of this 3d8.
So much damage on a person.
see, it'll be 26.
26. All right.
26 damage?
Yeah,
That is so much damage.
2 sevens and an 8.
For reference, our audience here, a regular gun hand only has 6 points of damage with 0 toughness. So these demons were able to tank a lot. Like, you should not have been able to take them down so fast. But 26 points on her is quite a bit. You see her go down. You see a couple other shadows like rush towards her. One of them kind of looks like it could be Lazarus. You're not quite sure. You don't see her coming back up anytime soon.
Well, I finished where we left off this afternoon. But you didn't say there was going to be 2 demons.
I mean,
You
didn't say there wasn't.
you are still under this cabin right now. It would be a good idea to move away just in case it does come down.
Yeah, I was going to use my movement action to move perpendicular from the cabin. Just not get caught up in the rubble.
You want to get going the same direction as Purdy or go towards the center, the open area, which would be closer to the house too?
I like to go towards the barn, actually.
Okay. That would still be the open area. You're just veering right instead of left.
Okay.
So you're going to be able to move. You're going to be probably about 15 yards from where Sula would be right now.
And I do need to reload as well for my prompt action.
Okay. Reloading is prompt, isn't it? Okay. Sounds good. John, you are up.
How close can I get to this other demon?
You would be able to get about where Vint is, which is not in punching range. It is within shooting range.
Is it within lasso range?
Yes, it would be.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna run out there. You all see John reach underneath his large trench coat and towards his back, and you see he pulls out. He's touching it barehanded on purpose. You see this like coiled intestine that has veins and it's pulsating like it's alive. And you see as John touches it barehanded, it melts with his skin. And I'm going to lasso the demon.
All right. So this will be a throw or animal handling. You go ahead and pick here.
You said throw.
Throw is at the bottom of physique. Animal handling is the top of awareness.
All right, I'm gonna go with throw, and I'm gonna use my 5 jacks to boost.
Good call. Good call.
Because I have a -10 everything right now. Let me calculate this. Okay, that'd be so. I need a 59. $98.
Oh no. All right. So this is just, it's sheer chaos that's happening here. You're running forward, you're jumping over these cracks in the earth. There are snakes nipping at your heels every time you jump over. You throw this lasso, and unfortunately it just goes a little bit wide because you're trying to avoid both Sula and Vint here. It was a very narrow opening and you just weren't able to make it. We'll say if you want to not move next turn, you'll be able to recoil it and you could throw it again.
All right.
Were you yelling anything or doing a prompt action as you were going?
You just hear a growl from him. He's just like,
all right. That brings us to, there are not many gun hands left. In fact, the only one you see right now, Crooked Oscar, walking forward right out into the open. He pulls out, he had a rifle and he throws it to the side. He pulls out a pistol and you just see him going right towards John. Just got to focus on him because you antagonized him. That is a very good hit. So that's going to be 7 damage with this pistol as he's just blasting, firing away. How are you looking over there, John?
Better than I actually would be. Actually,
Oh, all right.
I'm at full battered, almost to mauled. Any more damage, I'll be at mauled. But
Oh,
everything's fine.
mauled. It's just words, right? They don't mean anything.
Yeah, who cares? Rub some dirt in.
Top of the round, this cabin is finally collapsing under the weight. You see that this barn has apparently been suffering the same structural damage and collapses as well. It's still fire and smoldering inside there, but it's just a ruin. The house itself seems to be doing fine. All of you are far enough away from the buildings that it doesn't cause any real damage. Purdy, you're near the outhouses, which kind of topple over. They don't really break apart. They do fall on their side. You get a nice, lovely aroma coming out of that pit.
Oh,
but you're doing
Sula,
fine.
come on, damn girl.
Sula, you are up right now. There is a demon trying to gore you right now. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's problematic. Am I going to take any kind of penalty if I am shooting this with my pistol?
No.
Given the range that it is. All right. I have hip shot, which means that once per day I can take a full round aim as a free action. So this seems like a good time to do that.
A full round aim would give you.
I should have figured out first what aim benefits me.
What aim does? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get plus 10 per aim. It's a partial action.
She gets to do it as a full round, huh?
Can take it. Yeah, I can take a full round aim as a free action. If that's more than a plus 10.
All right, so what is the actual action there? Do you have to roll for it?
It just says once per day, the character can take a full round aim as a free action.
Aiming grants a plus 10 for each partial dedicated to it. So I think as a full, you get up to 30. So you get plus 30% here as a free action.
Sweet. So then that will negate the 6s and 7s and give me a plus 10.
Correct.
And I'll leave it there. So instead of a 64, it's a 74. And I rolled a 44.
3 jacks.
So
are you putting that
that's
towards
3
damage, or are you going to
jacks,
float them down the
which
river?
No, I'm going to put it to damage because I'm trying to kill this thing. So it's a 1d6 damage. I roll a 1 plus my damage bonus, which is another 1, which is a 2, plus the 4 is a 6. Sorry, plus the 3 is a 5.
5. 5 is not quite enough to actually go through its toughness. You're firing and you're hitting it square on, but they just seem to be glancing blows. They're just grazing it. They seem to be superficial wounds. Yes, Purdy.
She rolled a crit. She rolled an ace.
Actually,
so that should inflict either a status condition, double damage, or it should hit a specific thing.
She rolled a crit.
Didn't she roll? Didn't you say 44?
I did roll a 44.
So if it's
That's
under,
a crit. You're right.
A crit,
yeah.
So we should get some sort of bonus. Yeah.
Yay.
All right.
I also
so would you like to?
forgot about my -5 for whooped, so it's only 4 actual damage.
Okay. Would you like to double that? Would you like to hit a specific spot, or would you like to do a status condition?
I think I would like to double that.
You could always do something like bleeding out, where it loses 1 vitality per round. It wouldn't be as much damage now, but it could be in the long run. Or you doing double would mean you would actually get past its toughness and actually do some damage now.
Sula's going for the double damage. That feels
enough,
like
fair
her
enough.
style.
All right, so you're able to actually get you're firing both pistols. You at first you're doing just superficial wounds, grazing, but one of them just it gets right in the meaty part of its thigh, and it kind of limps for a second, but then it stands back up. So you did actually get a little bit of damage on there, just enough. All right. That brings us to Purdy. I'm sorry, Sula. Did you have? I skipped you. So you got to do a free action of aiming and then attack. Do you want to move? Do you want to keep going towards the house, or do you want to stay near this creature?
I would prefer to move towards the house.
Okay. You're going to be able to keep going.
As long as it's not doing some sort of opportunity attack or something.
There aren't any in here. So you're going to be able to keep going, and
Then yes.
You're going to be about one movement away from the house. One more turn to actually reach the house.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Purdy, you are up.
How far?
Purdy.
How far is everyone from me, by the way?
They're a good amount away from you because they've been running the opposite direction. It would take like 3 turns to get to them.
Can I get like a vague distance?
Yeah, about 100 yards. But something catches your eye. Some foul beast coming towards you out of the rubble from around the cabin? No, wait. It's not a... You thought it was a horned creature, but it's just... It's Henry carrying the piece of wood that he was tied to in his mouth, making it look like he has horns coming out the side. The rope is still around that wood going around his neck. He drops it at the side of you and lets out a little call. What are you doing?
I hop on top of him and I get the hell out of here. No, okay, so you're saying that Vint is a couple
so late,
100 yards away from me right now.
100 yards away.
I object to that.
Okay.
Because he and I were right next to each other at the start of the last round.
Let's say
he's moved one bit away from me.
Yeah, you moved one direction. It would be about 60 then.
60
you
yards.
Each moved about 30 yards. Yeah, so 60 yards.
Okay. I also object to that.
Okay.
Because that's
You
180.
each moved about 30 is what I'm saying.
It's 180 feet.
Yeah, a yard is about 1 step. So I'm saying
Okay.
you each moved about 30 steps.
Okay.
Do you have a third objection?
I will send it to you in a private message. I will, I guess, try to hop on Henry and see if I can chase after Sula.
Okay. You're going to have a little bit more trouble because you can't go through the center of this cabin anymore because the roof collapsed. But you can get on Henry and start going around, absolutely.
Okay.
You do have full cover.
Let's do that.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick. It just comes naturally. You're on Henry. We'll say that you'll be able to... Do you want to go towards the house side or the barn side?
Where did Sula go?
She's headed towards the house.
I'll follow... I'll follow Sula, whatever direction she went, if that's barn side or house side.
All right, give me a narrative animal handling check.
Can I instead do ride?
Ride would be better, yes.
Okay.
It's a narrative success anyways.
Okay. I actually do pass, 21 or 25.
Okay. So Henry is just geared up. He's full of adrenaline right now. And he's still got that rope around his neck. So you're able to jump on his back, and you'll ride around the house, and you'll actually get pretty close to Sula at this point. She's not too far away because Henry is just booking it.
Okay.
That would be your movement action then. What else would you like to be doing?
Can't do anything.
Okay.
You've taken away everything I can do. So you go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I am. I don't like taking away options. The demon here is going after Sula. Or no, not Sula, because she ran away. So it'll be after either Vint or John here. John, it's coming at you. It's going to attempt to gore you. That is a hit here. Okay, so we are doing... That is 6 damage, and you are impaled again, John.
That's fun. That's fun. I'm excited. This is great. Said how many?
6 damage.
6.
How you looking
Are
there,
you into
John?
mauled yet?
Yeah, I'm in the mold now. Yep, I took 2 from because the gums.
All right.
Yikes.
And you have the impaled
mauled.
condition again.
Ooh, fun. Yeah.
All right. That is its turn. Vint, you are up. John, you're on deck.
I will now take my time to target this flaming beast with a long rifle once again.
Okay.
I'll just shoot it.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Let's see. I got a 74. Let's see what I get. 22. That's a crit, actually.
A crit. There's a chance you could kill it with the crit. You wouldn't be able to kill it otherwise, but... Whew. Let's go ahead and roll damage. How many jacks is that, too?
5.
5. Okay.
3d8 is the damage. I rolled all 7, so 777. I just hit a jackpot.
You cheeky bastard.
21.
Wow.
Are you adding the 5 with
Let's
your
add the 5
jacks?
to it, make it 26.
26 doubled is 52 damage.
Oh my god.
52. Holy crap.
52 damage. All right. Go ahead and describe how you're killing this thing.
Yeah, just after reloading a round with my rifle, after taking a shot at the window at Rosanna, I just turn around, whip back to this flaming beast, seeing it maul John, just impale him. But impaling him put him in a stationary target, so I just aim down my rifle, let out a blast. It's just straight down the line into his skull.
The skull shatters. The antlers shatter. There's a hail of splinters that cover both you and John. You see where its skull was attached. You can see the flesh of the deer body is still there, but the skull itself was dry inside. There was no brain, there was no eye, nothing that you would expect to see in a skull, and you just see the nub of the spine sticking out where it was attached. And this creature just slumps with a cloud of smoke and dust. And the sky above is starting to darken again. In fact, it's much darker than it ever was before this fight even started.
Then I'll walk
There's
up to
still
its burning
Oscar to
corpse.
worry about, though.
I'll walk
Yes,
up to its
go ahead.
burning corpse, pull out a cigar from my pockets, and light it up on fire. Turn to John.
Yes.
I think we're even.
That's so amazing. All right. Vint is enjoying a smoke. John, you are up. You still have Oscar shooting at you. You have a
Where is
whip in
he?
your hand. He's within throwing range. You wouldn't be able to move if you want to recoil the rip, though.
How far is he from me? Like, is he?
We'll say if you wanted to go up and punch him, you'd be able to do that because he was moving towards you.
Okay. Instead of doing that for the first time ever, John looks defeated. Not like defeated, but a little bit sad. But he's also kind of like, I guess. And then he just reaches into. Sorry, I knocked over everything just now. And he reaches across with his other hand into his holster and grabs his gun and shoots at Oscar.
All right, let's roll the attack. Short arms.
First time John shoots. Make sure it's minus 15. Oh, nice. Yeah, I needed a 45. I got a 40.
Nice.
Or is
All
that
right.
Is that a 4?
What?
It's a 40. It's a 40. I was reading it weird.
All right. So is that a hit?
Yep.
With a 4, not a 49?
I know, with a 40.
40. Okay.
Yeah, I needed a
so you even get a
45.
check there.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and roll your damage then.
Oh, yeah, forget about that. So far, I haven't been having to roll damage, so I just was like, damage happens. All right, what am I doing again? A D8. That's 8 max damage.
Nice
X
roll.
damage. All right. That is not quite enough to take out Oscar,
It's totally fine.
but you do a solid hit to him. Where did you hit him?
Right in the chest.
Yeah, you hit him so hard that he actually falls to a knee, and you see the blood dripping out. And his aim is wavering, but he is still up.
You're tough.
That brings us to Oscar. And he is going to try to shoot. He's going to get a big penalty here because he just fell and got shot. But he still hits. John, he's doing 6 damage to you.
Oh, yeah.
How are you looking there?
Surprisingly still up. Surprisingly.
Ooh.
Bare, like literally 1 away, but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Barely.
All right. That brings us to the top of the round. The sky is darkening. These cracks are no longer growing, but the snakes are no longer trying to bite out of them either. Sula, what are you doing? You are about 1 turn away from getting to the house.
I'm closest to the house, so I'm going to continue to the house. I'm looking for something. So as I'm approaching the house, I am looking, in case I missed something before, something Celtic designy that I recognize from when we were at the cabin, the homestead before.
You're looking for that outside the house? You're going to be able to get like right up to the front door and you'll be able to burst the door open, but you're not really going to be able to search inside the house yet.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything on the way in that, is
Okay,
sort of
perfect.
that kind of like a seal on the porch, like that I missed
that makes
the first
sense. That
time
makes
around.
sense. Give me an observation narrative success.
Okay. Well, that is a 94 over 58.
You're looking specifically for seals, like you said, anything like that. Nothing really catches your eye. There's a lot of there was a lot of gunfire on all the other buildings. The house itself doesn't appear to be hit once. You open the door, you're going to see that there's a hallway and a stairway going up, and then there's a drawing room to the left, which is where you saw Rosanna, and then there's a door to the right that you've not seen inside. The drawing room is just an open area, so you're going to be able to look right into it. You're not going to see Rosanna in there right now. There's going to be a lot of blood on the floor, though.
Understood.
Anything else on your turn?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Purdy, you are riding gallantly on Henry. What are you doing?
I'm following Sula. I want to get in that house. However much ground I can traverse.
You were not that far from where she started either, so and you're riding Henry, so you'll actually be able to get a little bit further. Are you riding Henry into the house?
You know what? Yes, I'm afraid.
Doors open.
I'm afraid if I leave him anywhere where I can't see him, he'll be set on fire.
He's
by a
reliable,
cruel
though.
and vengeful god, drunk with power.
He came running to you as soon as there was danger.
Yes.
Yes, so Sula bursts open the door, just gets a step inside, and hot on your heels, Sula, you hear the clop, clop, clop of Henry. He goes up the 2 steps onto the porch, and then you're just able to get to the side, and Henry will barrel in. Purdy's got to lower his head so he doesn't hit his head on the doorway, and Purdy, you are now in the hallway of this house.
I'm going to get gored by a demon, and I'm going to get gored by
You're going to get trampled by Henry.
And I'll be screaming, like, so when you see Purdy coming up, Purdy has, like, this fiery look in his face. He is, like, furious and angry, and he is screaming at the top of his lungs, like, Zeke, I know you're here. Show yourself, you coward. That kind of stuff.
All right, so that's your movement. Is there anything you could jump off Purdy and have a couple steps, or jump off Henry and have a couple steps too, if you'd like.
I will hop off Henry, because I don't think it makes. I'll probably bang my head at the ceiling and knock myself out in the chandelier at some point. So I'll hop off Henry, but I will stay close to Sula.
Okay. You still have your primary action. Anything you're trying to do with that?
You see, all of my propensities, Steven, are full round actions. So
okay, give me a deduction, logic, or observation. Then we'll call this a narrative success.
Okay, deduction, logic, or what else?
Observation.
I'll do observation. That's a 58 under 67.
58 under 67. That is a success. You're going to see a lot of blood like Sula did.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see a trail that leads back towards the opposite wall, not towards the hallway where you're at, but towards like the kitchen dining room area. There's a door that you can see the trail of blood. It looks like something was dragged through that blood.
Okay. I'll just scream it out loud towards Sula. Blood! Trail! Zeke!
All right. That brings us to the demon who is dead. Vint, you are up. You see John just got hit. Oscar's hit pretty hard too. What are you doing?
I'm going to take just a little breather, see what's kind of going on. If there's any immediate danger other than Oscar.
Yeah, give me we'll call this an awareness skill. We'll go observation would be the right one here. And we'll say narrative success here.
With 24. 88, actually crit fail.
We're doing narrative success though, so it was just going to be how well you succeeded. So you couldn't actually fail. With a crit fail, you're not actually going to see anyone other than Oscar right now. It seems like all the other hands have either made themselves scarce, gone to cover, been in a building that collapsed, or they've just completely hightailed it out of Dodge.
Okay, then I'll just do like a one posse for John here. I'll help him out. I'll try and distract Oscar. Just
Okay.
give John a better shot.
What are you doing to distract him?
I'll like pick up something like dirt or debris and just chuck it at him.
All right. That is. What is the percentage on the faucet there? I forget.
Depends how well my skill is in what I'm doing.
Yeah. So let's
The
go deception personality.
I've had 32 in deception.
Okay, so go ahead and roll it.
Okay. I got a 73, so it's a fail.
All right. You're going to throw up the cloud of dirt. There's a chance that Oscar will be aiming at you instead of John because of the attempt, but you're not actually going to give him a bonus.
Okay.
That brings us to John.
I just shoot him again.
Just shoot him again. All right.
Once more. I don't get to use my gun too often. Yeah. Ooh, that's bad. It's a 96 there. I'm not rolling well tonight. It's a fail.
You could spend a grit to flip that, couldn't you? And if that would give you a 69, which I think is a pass for you.
That would not be a pass, I believe. No.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, because I need to get a 45 to pass, or under 45 to pass.
All right, you've taken so much damage here
It hurts.
that your aim is wavering as well. Oscar is hurting, but he's going to keep firing here. We're going to see if he's going to fire at John or Vint. I don't fudge dice, by the way. I do cheat at GMing, but I don't fudge dice. Extel,
Yep.
you're taking 4 points of damage.
Oh,
Does that get
nice.
past your gumption?
No, it does not.
Dang.
You-
I rolled low on damage, but I got such a good hit too.
You see John just get hit again with a bullet. He just grits his teeth and he's like, "You first."
Hits him in the chest. He grits his teeth, spits out a bullet.
Yeah, Ike.
All right.
You're muted.
I'm sorry, I'm
You
muted.
muted yourself.
I'm muted. I'm sorry. Sula and Purdy, we're dropping you out of initiative real quick. We're going to skip your turns. We'll come back to you in a second. We're going to stay with Vint, John, and Oscar right now. Vint, it's going to be your turn again.
Turn again. Let's see. I'll do like more hands-on, and then I'll kind of hold him still. Oscar
All right,
still.
So you're going to run up to him and we'll say fisticuffs or athletics here.
I'll do athletics with a 43. Oh, this will take 6s and 7s. Makes it a 23. Oh boy. 38. Not quite enough.
Not quite enough, no. So you're gonna go up, and he's gonna have his pistol, and he's just gonna swing it wildly, and you want to grab him, but with the way he's thrashing the pistol, if that gun went off into your head, it would kill you. So you're just trying to duck around him, and you're not able to quite pin him down because of that. Anything else on your turn?
And I'll just back up a little bit, just not get caught up in the crossfire.
All right. Brings us to John. How many rounds you got left?
Uh, John's going to just say, "Oh hell," and then he's gonna run towards Oscar here, and
Okay.
I'm just gonna try to punch him to death.
Let's do it. He's hurting.
All right, we use different dice this time because no. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, got it. I need a 64. I got an 84.
But that you could flip.
Can I flip it? Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll
So
just
spend your grit there.
Just one or all?
1 grit to spend, I believe. Right?
Got it.
To flip. It might be 2 grit, but either way, you have enough.
Oh yeah, 48.
Yeah, it's 1 grit to do a straight flush to flip the dice.
Cool beans.
All right, roll your damage. Fisticuffs doesn't roll.
Yeah, it's just 3.
How many jacks do you get there too?
Let's see. I needed 64, so 2.
64, and you got a 48 because you flipped.
1. I got 1.
So you got 1.
Yeah, and I'll put it in there to do it with the damage more.
Either way, though, you got him. Describe how you're killing him.
You see John just kind of like, he just throws down his pistol and he just runs over to him. And when he gets to him, he grabs him by the back of the head and then takes a couple fingers and just jams it into the bullet hole that he made. And then he just does it over and over again. He's like, "You're like spitting on kids." and he's very much just doing it until he just digs deep in there. It's like a hole. And he throws him down to the side.
After the first couple strikes, he goes into a state of shock and he kind of goes limp on you. But you do a couple more just to make sure you finish the job, and he just collapses there. Then, John, you're in the middle of this opening, surrounded by dead demons, dead gun hands. I think you've both been hit, maybe not Vin, but John, you've been hit pretty hard here. Let's switch to inside the house. Purdy and Sula, you see this blood trail. I assume you're chasing it down?
Purdy will be, yeah.
And Sula you're going with? All right. So how much caution are you using? Are you just going as fast as possible, or do you want to make sure that you check corners, things like that?
Purdy would be, I would say he's not like a Navy SEAL here, but he would be, he wouldn't be like not looking
You're
left
still
and
fired
right.
up. You got adrenaline.
Yeah. I'm moving quickly with purpose, but I would say I'm still like observing, but I'm not like super great at it. So
Yeah, fair.
oh boy, what's up with your mic?
Yeah, you're quiet all of a sudden.
Plug it back in maybe.
All right. She just disappears entirely too when she leans down.
Is that better?
Yes, it is.
Oh, much.
Oh, okay. All right. So what I was trying to say is that I think Sula and Purdy are sort of going in pairs. So I'm sort of imagining this like Sula is the one with the guns out, kind of providing cover and kind of keeping an eye on things to make sure that if anything is going to be coming towards Purdy, that she's got it in her sights.
Okay.
Henry,
Purdy,
cover the door. Don't let anyone out.
Henry spins. I'm sorry. No, Henry was facing the center of the house. You say cover the door, and he kicks his back legs, slamming the door shut. And then he spins around, and he's still carrying this piece of wood in his mouth, and he just puts his head down, just staring at this door.
But anyone who's not us that tries to get out that door.
All right. Sula, I'm gonna want some sort of combat skill from you as you're moving through this house. Purdy, what skill would you say you're using to move through this house?
Probably just observation, I think. Just keeping an eye
Okay.
out for things.
Both of these are going to be narrative successes.
That's a 60 under 67.
All right. Success for you.
And when you say combat, what are you meaning exactly?
Tactics, short arms, maybe athletics, whatever you feel would justify your best approach here.
Short arms appears to be the best thing that I've got, so I will. Yeah, I'll just do that. And this is reflexes, so it's a minus 20, so that's a 44 that I'm aiming for. Do I want to take the last one? I kind of want to.
It's a narrative success. You're going to pass no matter what.
One. Oh, that's right. Okay, then never mind. That's a that's a 97.
Okay. Purdy, you're following this trail. As soon as you get through the door, you find yourself in a kitchen area. It's a rather nice kitchen. You can tell that it's got all the furnishments. The trail itself, though, seems to kind of blur a bit. Whatever was being pulled was picked up at this point as soon as it got in the other room, so it's not being dragged the same way. You can still follow it by drips here and there, but it's not the same long line that was going. As soon as you go through that door, there is a rifleman that is shooting. You open the door, gunfire goes over your head. Purdy kind of ducks down. Sula comes in. You start shooting a little bit. You hit a couple pots and pans that are hanging. You knock a few things off the table. You're not actually getting the guy down, and he ducks out a door on the far side. Purdy, you continue going forward. You're watching this trail. Sula, you decide to move a little bit more towards the front. You open up this door. This ranch hand that was shooting, it's actually not a ranch hand. You notice he's wearing a suit. He looks like he was a butler or something like that. But he had that rifle ready to go again in this next room, which is a storage room type area. It had a lot of dry goods in it. That rifle, you were expecting it. So you kind of went in low and you swung forward a little bit. You blasted him there. He goes down. Purdy, you're right behind her. You're still following this blood trail. There's still a lot of blood, but it's just not that like streaking drag marks there. There's now new blood from this guy that you just killed, but you move past and over him, and you find a trap door in this room, which is the only way out of this room. Going down it?
Yeah. Purdy will.
You open it up.
Purdy will get a. He's got an oil lamp. He'll get a lamp up.
All right, I've got guns at the ready.
You open it up, and it's a cellar. It looks to be a sort of like cold room down there. Cellars aren't too common, especially in this part of the area, but it looks like it was bricked up too. Like this is a very it's not just carved into the dirt earth like you would expect a lot of other places. It has brick and cement and masonry down here. You go down these wooden stairs and you find at first there's a few storage boxes, things like that. But then you see a table. It looks like a surgery table, maybe. There's a lot of blood on it. Dried blood. Nothing fresh here. It looks like several different layers because it's different stages of that brownish black.
Is it fresh? Like fresh blood?
Nothing fresh.
Okay.
This is all dried blood. You're immediately hit by a smell. If either of you have been around more lower class trades, you would recognize the smell as fermented urine used in tanning, for tanning hides and things like that. Very common for that kind of purpose. It smells awful, and it's just filling this basement. Aside from this table, you also see several metal bathtubs that look to be full of water and ice. And it's a lot of bathtubs. There's 3 large bathtubs, and there's a lot of ice too. It's an insane amount of ice for this part of the desert. It would be extremely extravagant, and it would take a lot of money to bring this down here.
Is there
Looking
anything
around,
else anything else in the tubs besides ice? Like organs, babies, that kind of thing?
moving forward to look at those ice tubs, there is something else in there. Plants. It's some sort of yellow flower. Give me a... Do either of you have any experience with nature or anything along those lines? Some sort of gardening background?
No.
I
got scholar and research, but no, nothing with nature specifically.
Give me scholar.
It's not quite the same thing I have under the stars, child of nature, for like sleeping outside, but it has nothing to do with like
But no skill
botany
with it.
knowledge or anything. No.
Okay. So we'll just go with the scholar for now.
I burned a couple jacks to make this okay. All right, 21 under 80.
On a normal day, Purdy, you probably wouldn't identify this, but with all the happenings of what's been going on, you're reminded of a lot of Celtic traditions, Celtic myths, and it reminds you of the plant woad, which is not native to this area, but it was very common for making a blue dye. And a lot of Celtic religions would paint themselves with this blue dye, or they would dye their clothing with this blue. And you remember reading just some article offhand when you were younger about how for it to be made, it has to be used with, it has to be sit in an ice bath.
Okay, that explains some of the coloring that we've seen, the masks and whatnot. Okay. Anything else in here?
Yes. There is a doorway that leads to a separate room. It is currently ajar right now. Do you want to go in?
I'll nod to Sula.
Yeah.
I think at this point, Purdy will also have his own gun out. He'll have lantern in one hand, gun in the other.
At this point, I think it might make sense for Sula to take point with her double guns, if that works. And
I presumed you were at point already. I'm an old man with some really painful hips right now. I just rode a mule bareback into a house. I ain't feeling good right
You
now.
did. All right, so
Sula,
Sula's up front.
You slowly push open this door. You've found resistance already. You expect it could happen again. You find a room that this just like stereotypical cult room. There are shelves with half-burnt candles around here. In the center of the room is a massive bronze cauldron with Celtic symbolism on it. It seems to be packed with a type of salt. Very densely packed with salt. And carved into the floor, you see the Celtic knot shape that you've seen with 5 points. This one's slightly different. The line for the Celtic knot is a snake that it's carved to look like a snake, where its back would have been broken in those 5 points. And there's one section where its mouth is eating its tail. There is also a hole in the wall near this room, or on the other side of this room, where the masonry was broken. And there is a leather drape covering it. And you can see that there's a tunnel that continues into the ground. At this point, we're going to cut to Vint and John. What have you two been doing up in the open area?
You're a damn fine shooter. Damn.
You got some gumption to you. Still staring after all those blows.
It's literally taking everything I've got. But hold on. I think I'm coughing up a lung. Nope. False alarm, just more blood. Anyway.
No, Purdy and Sula head to the house over there.
perhaps we should follow behind him.
We should.
Why don't you take point? I feel like you take more of a hit than I can at this point in time.
All right. And then we'll head to the house after Purdy and Sula.
All right. You head to the house. You open the door to find yourself face to face with an angry mule, but Henry knows you. So he lets you pass. He's still very intent on guarding this door. You find the same sort of trail. You begin to follow it. It doesn't take you as long because you're not shot at a couple times as you go through. Sorry, go ahead.
I think, do you pet Henry or say something nice to him as you try to pass through?
Sure. I just go, whoa, watch out now, Vint. Don't mess with Henry. He's a bad mama. You keep up the good work.
Okay. What about you, Vint? He lets John go, and then he looks at Vint.
I'll see his new board that he has got around him. Just tell him, looking good there, Henry.
We should add
roll the charm test. No.
Vint is the natural animal handler here.
I bet Henry could have taken out that demon way quicker than any of us did.
All right. You move past, you go through, you find the dead butler. He's got a double barrel shotgun. Both barrels are empty now. You find the trapdoor, you go down, and Purdy and Sula, you're going to have already gotten in this other room. You've investigated a little bit. You've searched around when you hear the footsteps coming down the stairway. You don't know who they are yet, though. What are you guys doing?
Fire at anything that moves now. Hang on.
Guns at the ready.
Something's coming. There's no way Henry would have let anyone pass.
Purdy, Sula, you guys down here?
They could be faking their voices.
Does anybody know how to fix a gunshot wound to the stomach?
Yeah, that sounds like John. We're in here.
All right, so you connect. You're in the room together. You've searched all this basement. You cannot be far behind. At the most, a minute running distance behind. This tunnel is the only way out. Do you guys want to try and recover, do some first aid, or do you want to be hot on their heels?
Oh, I would very much like to recover. Oh, yes, I would, indeed. Do you mind if we all just sit down for a moment? I'm literally like 2 seconds away from passing out.
Remind us how recovering works again.
All right, so let me double check here. First aid is usable once per encounter to recover vitality, and then you heal your gumption rating daily. Medicine is usable once per day and recovers 1 vitality or performs operations. Each jack scored heals an additional vitality.
Well, I got the medicine and Sula's got the first aid.
I can also try to do first aid, although I'm not the best at it. I probably won't.
All right, if y'all look like you can continue, then I suppose. Quickly now, we're on the trail. Can't let them get away.
So you are not doing medicine or first aid?
How long? So how
It's
long?
up
does
to
it
you
look
all to
like
convince
is-
Purdy otherwise, because I think Purdy would probably want to push forward unless you all convince him otherwise.
Yeah, I'm on the push forward trail, even though John's here, is pretty much on the brink of death. But it's up to him.
You know what? You know what they say. Go big or go home. I guess. I might be going home soon. All right, let's do it. Let's keep going.
Rub some dirt on it, kid. Let's go.
We'll try to keep you out of the proverbial line of fire, as it were.
Yeah, out of the
All
frying
right.
pan, they always say.
You pull back this leather drape or curtain, and you see a hand-carved tunnel, a very roughly carved tunnel. Purdy has the lantern. We said Sula was taking point. We'll say Vint and John are further behind. You can stand about 2 people abreast here. It's not going to be
last.
too tight, and you only have to duck your head a little bit. It's not that bad. You go up a few yards, and you see that this connects to a mine shaft. There are lots of silver and gold mines in the area, mostly silver in this area, and most of them have dried out or been abandoned. This tunnel eventually connects to the mine shaft, or this tunnel connected to the mine shaft pretty quickly, so it's likely that whoever dug this knew there was a mine here. And looking, you can see it's kind of a T intersection. You could go left or right. It's not hard to see where they went. There's drops of blood. There's recent footsteps. They go to the left, which would actually lead deeper towards the mountains, which is likely where the mine started. Makes you think that they were probably trying to escape. Moving your way, you're able to move quickly. You move with a purpose, methodically. You don't have to watch your step too much. It's an abandoned mine. There's still like things here and there. There's rail tracks for a minecart to come through, but for the most part, it's level footing. You're moving as quickly as you possibly can, and you almost miss something. There was a side tunnel that looked like a cave-in. It looked like there was just a pile of rocks there, and you were going to move and keep going past. But looking down, you can see that the trail actually turned towards that side tunnel. Holding up the lantern, you can see that there's actually a good-sized opening just above the tunnel. It looks like they carved into the ceiling of the tunnel to kind of go up and over where this pile of rocks is. You start squeezing through there. You kind of have to hand off any cumbersome rifles or the lantern, anything that would be more difficult to get through. There's a lot of blood in this section. You're guessing Rosanna's body was pulled through here, and it just got smeared. It would not be easy to move someone unconscious through here or dead. So you kind of squeeze through yourselves. The first couple to move through, just you really get soaked in blood a little bit, but you get over the other side. You continue going, following this trail. There's no more tunnels, no more intersections, and you get to what looks to be like a drop, like a chasm in here. And you hear voices up ahead. Not speaking English or any other language you know, but it's similar to that melodic singing that you heard before, but in a much deeper masculine voice. At this point, I'm going to throw it back to you guys. You see like a drop, like it could be a cave or a chasm, some sort of large opening. Your light shines through to the end of the footing, but then it's just darkness up ahead past that. If you guys wanted to move further up ahead, your light could be visible to wherever that voice is coming from, but it may not be. It's hard to tell.
So the chasm, the voices aren't coming from down the chasm, or is it across?
It's coming from ahead of you in the tunnel. So something in that chasm, there has to be another path, maybe a ladder down, maybe the ledge goes left or right, maybe there's a way to climb up. You can't tell from here, but the voice is coming from up ahead.
Is there any light coming from up ahead, or is it just our lantern?
With the way the angle you're looking, you don't see any light, no.
Should we take a careful approach or just go in guns blazing?
We've come this far.
I can go up quietly, but I can't guarantee if I don't do it with some light that I'm not going to fall, but they would not be able to hear my approach if I could try to get some hear them a little better, figure if they're up or down at least.
I'm only good for smashing stuff, so I vote guns blazing, but I mean, it's probably not the best option.
So what's the plan, Len? Moving forward as one?
I think
Yeah,
so.
we'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Best thing.
You move forward. And the closer you get to this opening, the louder that melodic chanting becomes. You get finally to the edge where you can see into this, and you see it's a large cavern. And there are stone houses that have been built up into the sides of the walls. There's stone circles that look like they could have been holding points for water, something like that. A couple of the walls have been look like they used to be patched with clay that's long since eroded. It looks very similar to sort of Neolithic housing that has been in this area before. If anyone's familiar with the area, I want some sort of knowledge check. Purdy, I would give you scholar for this. Otherwise, we're going to say logic or even navigation, I would allow. Something along those lines. Something about how you're familiar with this area. Survival, even.
I burned 2 jacks, 63 under 70. For scholar.
Anyone else rolling, or are we good?
Sure, I'll do a roll.
Didn't fail.
I'll do survival. Okay. That is a fail. Barely.
Okay. Purdy, you're the only one who makes the connection here. In this area, historically, many indigenous people would build houses into cliffs for protection. There would just be entire settlements in outcroppings on cliffs, and those houses look very similar to what you're looking at now. And you look over one side of the cavern, looks as if there was some sort of massive landslide that just covered the settlement. You can see that it's not solid stone on that side like it is all the other caves. So your best guess is that this was some sort of cliff dwelling that was just buried hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, who knows? In one of the openings, one of the clearings here, there is a faint light coming from a lantern. You see 3 people wearing blue robes and wearing antler masks. You also see Lazarus Caldwell stripped down almost to his skivvies, and he's smeared some blue paint on himself. He's not fully covered. It just looks like it was a rush job, like just a couple handfuls here and there. And the body of Rosanna is on the ground in front of him. He's currently holding up a stone knife, and you see him go towards her. Is there anything you guys would like to be doing, or do you just want to watch and see what's happening?
I mean, Purdy would say to Vint, shoot him now.
Listening to this wise old Purdy here, I'll draw my arms.
All right. I'm going to assume you had your rifle ready. We talked about how you had to move it around, so it would be at hand right now. So go ahead and aim and take your shot here.
Okay. It's going to be 74. 24. 5 jacks.
5 jacks. Are you putting those towards damage again?
I'll just bank them for now.
Yeah, you're doing plenty of damage. Who
I'm
matters?
Sure 3d8's going to be plenty.
What's it matter?
It's insane.
87 damage.
I rolled a 7. I might actually just do the damage then. Let's do 12.
Oh no, just a 7. Oh, that's such a shame. So 12 then with the damage?
Yeah.
I was say as soon as the shot rings out, John will start rushing forward.
Okay. So you're at the edge here, and there is a wooden ladder that you have to climb down. It's only about 15 feet or so. It's not going to be extremely difficult. You could try to jump it if you want. There's a chance you'd take some damage on the landing.
No, I'll take my time. It's okay.
Okay. All right. So that was 12 damage, right?
Yes.
All right. That's not quite enough to kill him. You wing him. John begins jumping down. Sula, do you want to take a shot with your pistol here too? I assume you had your pistols ready.
Yes, I would like to. Let's see. I'm aiming a 44 at this point. Yes, that is a 27. So I also get a jack.
All right, all right.
I'm going to keep the jack because that minus 20% is kind of hurting. So I'll keep the jack.
We're going to end the session soon, though, and you don't get to roll those into next session. Keep that in mind.
Very true. I'm assuming I'll roll at least one more time.
Okay, fair enough. So what's your damage, then?
Oh, sorry. I got to roll my 1d6. Oh, that's another one. So that's grand total of 2 damage. So maybe I will spend the jack then, so it's at least 3 damage.
He's got a gumption of 3. Don't spend it.
Oh, okay.
I'm giving that to you. You shoot, and the pistol, he's at a distance where it's a little bit harder to hit with the pistol, and it's dark, so it's harder to aim. Your gun bounces off the stone next to him, sends some shattered rock at him, but he's already coming down with a knife. Purdy, would you like to take an action here?
I would. What is the range that we are at?
Let's say 60 feet.
Okay. I guess I will not do anything.
We'll say 50 feet.
Well, I mean, I want to shout the word at him, and I want to do some damage to him, which is 30 feet.
What's the range on that? You can do that.
It's 30 feet.
It's going to echo through here with this cavern. So I think that's perfectly fair.
Okay. So I will call out to Lazarus and the blue cultists and things, and I will say, "You have run from us and hidden in darkness, but we are the Lord's fire. We bring vengeance and venom, and we bring it in spades. Bow and die before us." So I'm going to attempt a... So I'm attempting to basically do that. It's a theology call. I will burn...
We have 1 group jack left.
I mean, is it... I'll use it if no one else is going to... If everyone else is gone, I'll use it.
I have my own jack, so...
All right, so... Okay, that is a 12 under a lot, under 99, 12 under 99. So I will go ahead.
6 checks.
Yeah, I already was sitting on like 3 too. So I'm going to essentially afflict, because he's still up, right? Lazarus is still
He is still up, yes.
Okay.
He took a solid hit from the rifle, but that was it.
And I'm going to burn a point of grit on this as well to get even more damage. So this is going to take... Well, that's a 3. That's another 3. So that's 6 plus 6 jacks. So that's 12 points of lucidity damage.
All right.
Wow.
Lucidity is not lowered by gumption. Lazarus is still up after this, but he's coming down with that stone knife, and the divine fury in your voice comes at him, and he seems to be even more afflicted by this than a regular person would have. Purdy, you know your divine abilities to this, know how people can be affected. He drops that knife and he just grabs his head and he just falls, just shrieking and wailing. That chanting is over. The 3 cultists all turn and look at you, and on the floor in between the 3 of them, you see Rosanna's body. You see her stomach has been opened. The dress has been ripped open to show her stomach, and you see movement under the skin there, rippling through Lazarus is lying right next to her. Thank you, Raiders. Unfortunately, we are just wrapping up. This is where we are ending our scene. Bad timing again. I'm sorry, y'all. But yes, so her stomach is rippling. You see something like pushing out. And that's where we're ending.
Oh boy.
Sir
And
Purdy.
John's still alive.
Sir Purdy gets to say,
Barely.
I told you so. I told you there was a baby deer inside of her.
All hell's about to break loose. Literally.
Lazarus was double
Literally.
afflicted by that because of one of his weaknesses, that lucidity. Otherwise, he would have gotten the knife into her belly there. So nice job there.
I was one away from I rolled a 12. I got so nervous when I looked at because
Oh, from the
yeah.
Joker, yeah.
yeah, when I saw, every time I roll a 10, I get really nervous and I
You get worried about it.
I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
that's
no.
fair. All right. Well, thanks, y'all. I know it was a long combat session, but we had a couple demons that needed killing. So nice
We
job.
did.
And
did.
no one actually went down, which is pretty impressive too. Those demons went
100%
down
surprised.
extremely fast. I did not expect them to go
How
down
much
so
damage
quickly.
did you do in that one hit?
I critted 52.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Are you a
52. All right. So let's do some shout outs. Extel, what do you got going on?
Hello everybody. I'm Xtel at Extra the King on Twitter and Extra the King 2 on Instagram now, because Twitter's stuff. Monday nights we're on a break now, but we'll be back on the 28th. You can find me on Talking XP's Twitch channel where we play a Curse of Strahd campaign. We actually do play a paladin. Arxis, I love him very much. He's a great tiefling paladin / warlock. It's gonna be a great time. And then tomorrow actually is the premiere of a Vampire the Masquerade game on Take Your Roll, which I'm the social media manager for. Will be going on 7:30 Eastern time. It's gonna be a great time. We got a great cast coming, all POCs. It's a great time. Come through if you can.
I loved your vampire game too. I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, your vampire game's how I found you. It was awesome. It's so fun. It was so fun to watch.
Vampire is my game. I love it. I love it so much. So
You're
much
great
that
at it.
I'm running another one, so come by tomorrow night. It's gonna be a great time. And I'll be here next Tuesday for the last episode of this game, which I'm
Yes,
excited
the
to see.
finale of Arc 2.
I'm pretty sure John is not gonna survive, but it's gonna be fun. It'll be fine.
You guys, this last scene here, you prevented something that could have been very, very bad. So those shots and that divine fury was critical here. Jeff, what do we got going on with Lollygaggers?
Yeah, man. Speaking of World of Darkness, Friday, we're playing Hunter the Reckoning as we are continuing that campaign. You can catch Steven and Melissa and Long in that game and a couple other folks that you'll be familiar with. And then on Saturday, we are doing One Ring 2nd Edition as they are currently crawling through a icy dungeon, basically in the far mountains of Angmar, way the hell to the north. And then on Monday, we'll be back to Holler for Savage Worlds, which is a Appalachian apocalypse goodness. And then Tuesday, we'll be back here for more Haunted West. Got any final thoughts there, Steven?
I'm good.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and start us up a raid for Insomnia Night RPG because it looks like they're playing Deadlands, and that's fairly close thematically to what we're doing, so it makes sense. So follow the raid. Follow our channel if you haven't already. Thank you. And subscribe on the YouTube and all that kind of stuff, and we'll catch you later. So good night, everybody.
See ya.
Good night.